Let's just say if I was a parent in the big 2026 and I was raising a child who watched Clvicular as a streamer and looked up to them, I would tell them to find a new role model or turn off the stream entirely. What's up, everybody? What's on the menu? Back at again with another video, and this time we're here to talk about popular Looksmaxxing streamer Clvicular. Before we get into the meat and potatoes of this video, don't forget to like the video if you like it. Don't if you don't. If you like more social media and pop culture videos like this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And without further ado, let's get started. Popular Looksmaxxing streamer Clvicular recently did an interview with 60 Minutes Australia in which he walked out and had another temper tantrum after being asked a series of questions towards the end of the interview. I saw this after watching Austin the Duck's video, which I'll leave a link in the description to if you want to see his reaction to it.
You also maintain, or you've been seen with certain people who are from all parts of that world. I mean, just as an example, you've obviously shared company with Andrew Tate and other, dare I say, rather controversial figures. Why do you spend time with people like that?
Are you trying to, I see you want to make this political.
Not at all, not at all. I'm just curious.
No, that's what you want to do.
No,
you know you have
not at all, not at all, not at all. I'm not.
You want to end
at all
it
doing that.
and talk about.
I'm just curious. No, not at all. I don't care about your politics. I know you're not political. You've said that repeatedly. I'm just, when you get seen with those people, obviously people make assumptions. I'm wondering what the thought process and motivation for you is behind.
Interview. I guess you watched the Piers interview.
I did, yeah.
Too bad I didn't have time to look into, anything about potentially, who your wife cheated with, but don't try to go down that line of questioning with me, all right? Because I'm not doing any political.
I'm not married, but I was simply only asking because obviously you've been filming with these people.
So I could teach you about Looksmaxxing then. Maybe you could switch that up. But thanks for the time. Appreciate the interview. All right.
And after seeing Clvicular's reaction to the interview's questions, it made me think about how he's vaguely similar to Dennis Reynolds from Always Sunny in Philadelphia. If you're not familiar with the show, the show follows a group of 5 adults who navigate life in Philadelphia, and one of the characters, named Dennis Reynolds, is a borderline sociopath who's obsessed with his looks and thinks he's above everyone around him. A lot of behaviors and actions that Dennis does throughout the show of Always Sunny is kind of similar to a lot of things that Clvicular has been doing, and it's kind of not a joke anymore at this point. I mean, it never was, but we'll get into that. Since this guy has blown up in social media popularity, I've seen videos of him getting in altercations with women, killing alligators, having seizures on stream, talking about all the things he takes in order to have the best looks possible, what he does in order to make sure that he can function properly or to his best possible ability, and the list goes on, and he's even resorted to bone smashing as a way to maximizing his looks. Him walking out of the interview with 60 Minutes Australia was actually the second time I've seen him walk out of an interview. The first time was actually when he did an interview with Channel 5, and the interview from that YouTube channel asked him about, he was asking the interview of Channel 5 whether he was content with the way he looked, and because he didn't like the fact that the interviewer was content with the way he looked, Clvicular decided that he was done with the interview and decided to walk off, which was the first time he'd done so with an interviewer.
I think that's totally fair, and I applaud you for that, but not one, question about Looksmaxxing?
There's been so many questions about Looksmaxxing. I probably asked you about Looksmaxxing like 40 times. I just don't know the specific science. I'm not in the community.
Okay, well, I mean, if you were to ask about something in regards to hair loss, there's really nothing.
Yeah, sure, hair loss.
You see what I mean?
Telling me what you're trying to get me
to what to ask. So when you wake up every single morning and you take a look in the mirror, you're 100% satisfied with every single thing. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, more or less.
Okay, dude. All right, well, I guess that's just, if you want to be completely disingenuous, that's fine with me. I guess there's just no point to continue.
All right, thank you for your time.
Thank you. All right.
Doing it twice in the span of about 3 months is kind of childish if you think about it, because it shows that his emotional intelligence is actually very low, and he has a very terrible time at controlling his emotions, especially in situations where he's being asked certain questions. As a streamer, he puts several aspects of his life online, and it's up for scrutiny when he decides to do that on his own platform. Even though he's a young adult who is only 20 years old, being an adult, you are at the mercy of people being able to judge you for the actions that you do, because you're putting them online for everyone to see, especially when you do it as a form of entertainment and you make it your livelihood. But you may be asking yourself, Menu, why do you think that Clvicular has a very uncanny resemblance to Dennis Reynolds from Always Sunny in Philadelphia? Well, I'll go into some details and I'll show you some videos that may be comparable to the way Clvicular acts himself. First off, the emotional outbursts he's had in the past 2 interviews he's done are very emblematic of someone being very short-tempered, similar to Dennis Reynolds in Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Though Clvicular's outbursts may not be extremely volatile and temperamental compared to Dennis Reynolds, it shows that his inability to stay calm in scenarios where he doesn't need to be emotionally intense are similar to Dennis Reynolds.
I'll get 2 mirrors. I'll show it to you.
Don't get mirrors because you're not going to find any.
I see fat spilling over the back of your pants on a
There's no,
regular basis.
what the hell are you talking about?
I'm just trying to let you know.
And by the way, there's no reason why a bald man who enjoys skins with a little bit of extra something around his belly can't be a goddamn.
Okay, you know what? I can ask
You are a wrinkle bitch. Use your signal. You cow. Don't work. We'll all wait for you to send your text. Fat pig. Go get a flute. Everybody go get a flute. I'm not going there. Not letting you in, pig. I'm gonna show up to work and everybody be like, why is there blood all over you? Because I had to slit the guy's throat who causes all the traffic.
Another similarity he holds with Dennis Reynolds is his thinking that his looks, or looks in general, are one of the most important things of his life, or life in general, and that everyone else who doesn't share his beliefs in trying to look the best they possibly can is beneath them for whatever reason. Dennis Reynolds holds this view that everyone is beneath him and he is a god amongst men, while Clvicular believes that those who don't feel as though they need to maximize their looks or try to be the best possible version of themselves, at least physically, are people who are not being true to themselves and are at least lying to cope with the fact that they are not good looking. He's mentioned this aspect of life twice in both interviews. Even though Clvicular is 20 years old and does look like someone who's well into his 20s, he does have a childish mindset as to how he views women and relationships in general. It is a pretty well-known fact by now that the human brain develops around the age of 25. For some people it's a little bit older, for some people it's a little bit younger, but it is around that age. And his views on women and how he believes they should behave to be a partner of his are pretty immature views, to say the least. In this clip with Bradley Martin, he explains on what aspects of a woman he would want in order for them to be a good wife to him.
Woman,
Those sort of things.
I don't really like a woman who tries to be super educated either and try to like have these intelligent conversations, because a lot of the times, like, you could, and this is talked about by Socrates and a lot, like, a woman could be very well educated, but that doesn't make them a good thinker. So they just might have a lot of these like facts in their brain, maybe from books they've read. They don't necessarily know how to interpret them properly. They won't make the right conclusions. So I just don't want a wife who's like wanting to argue about like politics like that all the time. Just a girl who's lighthearted, really not too concerned with anything outside of what's right in front of her, is ideal, right? That's kind of what I look for.
So get in the kitchen and make me a sandwich. Shut
Up or what? No, because that makes me sound like one of those red pill misogynist guys, which I think is like very cringe.
Yeah.
I hate that, like, oh, make me a sandwich type of mentality, and that gets described to me sometimes because I'll go on like a podcast like with women and I'll tell them something like, I don't think you should be working. And a lot of times people say, oh, this guy's like Andrew Tate. And it's like, no, like, what if you would actually let me expand on my point? What I'm saying is that I don't want women to work. That's actually the harder thing, right? Because I think that men should be taking care of their woman.
Yeah,
that's much more difficult for me to suggest. And like, you should be saying thank you as a woman for men advocating for this, not like accusing someone of misogyny. I just think it's a little bit silly and ridiculous to think that any woman could have a serious career and start a family. That's not a realistic thing.
Yeah.
In the clip, you can see that he doesn't really value intellectual conversation with women, as he believes that the facts that they have in their brains from being well educated aren't necessarily things that can utilize properly in conversation, or he doesn't want to speak politically with them, which shows that he values women's education, or at least intellectual capacity, very low compared to him. That in itself, as well as his ability to believe that women shouldn't be working at all, kind of reflects Dennis's ability and how he sees women, and utilizes aspects of his Dennis system, which is a very infamous joke from Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Dennis Reynolds uses psychological manipulation in order to seduce, quote unquote, seduce women into sleeping with him, and uses these tactics as a way to get what he wants out of women. Similar to Dennis, Clvicular has very narrow-minded views of women as to how he believes they should behave if they were to be his long-term partner. But all in all, let me just put down my 2 cents. As interesting as it is to compare Clvicular to a fictional character like Dennis Reynolds from a comedy TV show, I think he's actually a cautionary tale as to what men shouldn't aspire to be, even though he may be a Looksmaxxing expert. Objectively speaking, Clvicular has improved his looks since he started Looksmaxxing at the age of 14. He is, quote unquote, an objectively good looking dude, and a lot of people can't deny that, myself included. But the problem arises with how he got to where he is now. Even though Clvicular is objectively good looking and has improved his looks significantly since starting Looksmaxxing, he's done a lot of questionable things since he started streaming. He's verbally degraded women, he's used racial slurs, he's decided to use various drugs, whether legal or not, in order to improve his looks, to improve his behavior, and on top of that, he's also been involved in several cases with the law, like running over a man with his car, shooting alligators and killing them in the Everglades, which is illegal in Florida, while also being involved in a assault charge with a girl with his girlfriend. He's also injected his girlfriend with, I believe, either Botox or some other filler in her face, even though she was 17 years old, which is highly illegal, I believe. And he's had several emotional outbursts due to things that were not favorable towards how he wanted them to go. To any young man around Clvicular's age bracket or younger, they may look at him as someone who's made it because he's made a lot of money through streaming, he's very popular, he has good looks, and he gets all this attention. But when you look at the means as to how he got to where he is currently in today's day and age, that's not a career that you should aspire to follow. Someone who takes drugs to the point that they end up having seizures because they're trying to maintain an image or a certain lifestyle, someone who constantly gets in trouble with the law due to the antics that they perform on stream, being associated with morally questionable individuals, whether they be racist, sexist, sex traffickers, of the like, basically social media pariahs. I'm not here to pass judgment on Clvicular and say he's a bad person, because he's 20 years old and he still can grow from his mistakes. His frontal lobe isn't fully developed and he can still change his trajectory of where his career is going. But at this point in time, based off what I've seen and what I've read about him, he's going down a path that he needs to course correct from, or at least someone like me would want to course correct from if these are the things that people associated with me in any way, shape, or form. On social media, you have the power to change the narrative and how people see you based on what you put out about yourself and how you express what you want yourself to be like in the public eye. Let's just say if I was a parent in the big 2026 and I was raising a child who watched Clvicular as a streamer and looked up to them, I would tell them to find a new role model or turn off the stream entirely. But what are your guys' thoughts? Do you think Clvicular is a streamer that people should look up to and try to emulate his behavior in any way, shape, or form? Or do you think that he's a bad influence on the youth today and he really shouldn't have a platform to do whatever he does? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Deuces.